What's going on, guys? This is Nick Caligaris with the Paper Trails podcast, and we're back, episode 9. And so super pumped to bring you guys some of my friends over here, Savory Moments. They are a catering company that we've worked with for the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. And so we've enjoyed a awesome partnership, awesome relationship, and we're here just to share their story, their backgrounds, how they ended up with a extremely nice venue. I guess technically we're in Huntersville.
We are.
So Huntersville, just right outside of Charlotte. And so we'll show you guys some pictures here in a little bit. We'll have Austin pop up some nice pictures. But so yeah, we'll start off with just a little introduction. So Heather, right?
Yes.
All right. Tell us a little bit about how you guys started the business.
Well, Jodi actually moved to town in 2009 during the recession. And of course, it's a recession. Why not start a business?
And you guys are sisters?
Yes, we are.
We're sisters.
Yes.
That's a big thing.
Sorry,
yes.
I think since we know each other so well, we assume the whole world knows us as well. But Heather and Jodi, you guys have sisters, family.
Right.
I know we're talking a little off camera. You guys grew up in the Tennessee area.
Yes.
And so tell us. Actually, well, you know what? We'll start back there. Tell us about growing up and how you guys ended up owning a business together and all that.
So we were both born in West Virginia because that's where the grandparents lived. Right. And then, but we were quickly moved we lived in Kentucky, but quickly moved to Tennessee. I grew up in Tennessee, and then I went to college at Johnson Wells in Charleston. So ended up in Charlotte and met my husband, and of course live here now. And Jodi.
I went to Knoxville and graduated from the University of Tennessee in design. And while Heather was at Johnson Wells, we were sisters. So we're only 11 months apart, so we're very close in age. Okay. So there was always a kind of, we're siblings. So it was kind of, I don't know, we were kind of, different people. Okay. But I would always visit Heather at spring break when she was in Charleston, because Johnson Wells was in Charleston then. Okay. It was a beautiful place, and so I would go meet her then. And then kind of after that, we really separated. Like Heather was in Charlotte, and I moved around with my family just with work. And
in design?
I was in design, and I ended up in Dothan, Alabama, which is kind of strange. And I ended up working with a transportation company, and we built trucking terminals, so we built a lot of metal buildings and a lot of shops and fuel systems. And so I did that for 11 years, which is very different. And very different than food. Yeah. I did, of course, all through college. For 5 years while I was in college to help pay bills, like most of us. I did work for Greeks for 5 years. Okay. So that was quite an experience.
Now, was that a good experience, or how was that?
It was honestly... It was an interesting experience.
She liked her job.
I loved my job. And the Greeks, you just have to learn to love them.
Oh, God.
They're very meticulous people, and you just have to fall into line. And it's important.
That is so funny, because that is so true. There's a gap between an amazing experience that I learned a lot, and man, they were really tough on us.
They were tough, and they're very much. And Heather's very much like this also. As far as being in food, like they were very, everything had a cost. Mm-hmm. Like don't waste that. They were really tight on us.
What kind of restaurant?
It was very interesting, honestly, because there was 3 little restaurants in one. I was on the strip in Knoxville at Sam and Andy's, and so they had a deli that was open till like 3 o'clock in the morning. And then they had a restaurant on one side where, we just had beer, and then another part called the Roman Room, which was a little nicer. So they really had 3 restaurants to try to...
So they owned all 3?
All 3 of them in one. And
all
it's 3
styles,
brothers.
All concepts?
3 brothers that had to get along, which was interesting. And I worked in the Sam and Andy's part where they're, but we all it all met together. Yes, because we all had the same hall. Yeah. It's very interesting.
Now, Heather, you went for culinary?
I did. Johnson Wells. Actually, I went pastry. I started culinary, and they opened the pastry program while I was in school. So I switched over to pastry because I thought it was very interesting.
You always wanted to do that? How did that pan out?
I did kind of always cook. Growing up, I was always the one that was cooking in the house. And when it was time to say, okay, what do I want to do with my life? I'm like, well, this seems to be what my life is kind of the direction I went in. So
you always some thought maybe you would have a bakery or a restaurant or like something like that?
I never thought. I always thought, I was in corporate America for a while and for 10 years. So as I was growing up, bringing up my daughter and had the family life, I was in corporate America for 10 years. So I was, it was fine. It's corporate America. So there's not, like you said, there's different pros and cons to everything.
Sure.
So, and then Jodi came to town, and that's when she was like, okay, let's do this crazy thing. I was like, oh my goodness, okay, let's do this.
You guys have talked about having a business?
So we did talk on we talked on the phone quite a bit. Okay. And I knew the recession was coming. I was in transportation. Okay. Transportation's kind of like the leader of things. I knew the recession was really coming and hitting hard. Sure. So when my division was really getting kind of phased out, I was like, I'm stuck way down here in South Alabama. I'd love to come north and just take this opportunity. And so Heather and I talked a little bit about, before you find a job, maybe we'll just try this. And a lot of us, I know you did this in 2009 kind of too, just kind of took the leap and said, okay, we'll try it. And if we fail, it's okay because we haven't lost anything.
And it was a lease, and it was only 3 years. So it was like, okay, let's try this and let's move forward and see if this is what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jodi, you're in Alabama.
Yeah.
You're in transportation. It's a gig. You're probably not in love with it. I don't know.
I loved it.
Oh, never mind.
I loved it. I loved my job. I loved my job. It was just dying. Like they just didn't have the money.
You saw writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Things are slowing down.
Yeah.
I see things. Maybe there's not a lot of other things, opportunities. I love to be in business with my sister. And
on the backside of it too, a lot of your decision was because our father got sick, our grandfather got sick, all this stuff was happening on the backgrounds, and she was all the way in Alabama. So every time somebody got sick, she was coming up to West Virginia or coming to South Carolina, all these things. So she's like, it's just too much travel. So I've got to be close to family.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was going on in the background. So yeah.
So then you guys, 2008, 2009, for some of you youngsters that didn't remember, are very similar to right now where, things are, slowing down a little bit, with, the virus and some of the things happening. Same thing in 2008. I was graduating college, entering the workforce. Nobody was hiring.
Yeah.
No, it was, I probably went on, I don't even remember, 5, 7, 10 interviews. And it was all like, yeah, things look great, but you know what? Right now we have a hiring freeze. We're kind of just keeping people in the loop, and so I was just working at the restaurant just to pay bills. Whenever we had the idea of the paper company, and so you guys left, I guess maybe the comforts of a corporate job where you had a guaranteed paycheck. Because for all of us small business owners, we know in the beginning there is no guarantees. It's all on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Right?
We had vacation pay.
Yeah.
We had vacation pay. We had benefits. we had really nice things.
There's no vacation. There's no vacation pay in small business ownership.
Yeah.
Right? And so, so you move up here. You guys have this idea. You leave your jobs, and you're like, let's start. Like, let's find a building. Like, how was the first meeting that you guys had about?
We did. We had a meeting of kind of a business plan. What are we going to do? And that started here and went to here before we really opened the business because we had some ideas and kind of because I was in business for so long, I was like, well, what's going to make us the most revenue so we can pay the bills and pay the lease that we want to sign.
Sure.
So we went through a lot of that.
So it was pretty quick though, because I moved here June 1st and we opened the business August 1st. So we really did it pretty quick. And then got everything in order and just kind of started. The first year was miserable. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people say it.
How was it? Tell me. What was the learning curve? Like, what did you have to learn? What did you not even think about that you just said, wow, we did not know? Like, did you not know how hard it was going to be? Did you not know how hard it was going to be to get customers? Did you not know? I'm just curious now.
Right.
Why was it so difficult that first year?
It was just the two of us. And so we if it had to be done, it was one of us that was going to do it. So that was really hard to say, okay, there's nobody else. So if that needs to be done, it's one of us who's going to do it. So.
And we really tried a couple things. Like we tried a gourmet, a shop, on the front and then the catering on the back.
Okay.
The shop, I think we had it open 6 weeks, 8 weeks maybe, because there was no revenue at all. Location is so important and it wasn't an ideal location.
Right. It wasn't really in a neighborhood.
And so we knew the catering side had to hit. And so we really we just plugged all different things. Like
We
going
did
after
school lunches.
schools. We went after like the Ranson House is a beautiful house in Huntersville. Like we did some catering there. And then we just really started on our corporate side, just kicking that. And we had a little lunch counter for a little while. Anything we could think of to get, like you did, to get revenue, we really went after, even if there wasn't a huge margin at all for
It was
us.
just sales turning, and we had to get our
keep it
name out
going.
there. We did some markets too, the farmers markets. We did a few of those to kind of get out there.
That's interesting. I mean, I think it's something to take from, because a lot of times people think that this is the business, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what you'll do forever. The reality is there's a lot of pivots, right? It's like try, fail, and adjust. Try, okay,
Yes.
fail, okay, that didn't work. 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Let's not continue doing that. We got to change. No revenue coming. So I mean, farmers market, box lunches, cater. I mean, you were down for anything.
Anything.
To make sales.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome. So that was the first year, and I think I can relate so much because it was my cousin and I at the beginning for our company too, and it was I did the sales. I went back, helped them load the trucks. We collected the money. We went to the bank. Like we pulled the orders.
You mopped the floor.
Everything. Mopped the floors.
Yeah.
Just a couple of days ago on Saturday, we went in because you guys know how sometimes week to week you have so much happening with work. Cleaning kind of gets pushed to the side, and so just on Saturday, we went to the office and did some deep cleaning. Pulled refrigerators out and just floors and so. Okay, so interesting. So first year, huge learning curve. You're just hustling as much as you can. Box lunches, this, that, getting your name out there, creating some kind of brand. Tell us about. How was year two? Like, how did
Year two started picking up a bit on corporate side. We kept the farmers market. She's like the farmers market queen over here.
And honestly, our kids were out there too. Anything we could do to. But the other thing that happened in year two that I kind of just remembered was Albemarle, actually, and we got it. We tried anything to keep our business alive. So we got a government contract that there's people at the Air National Guard that they'd have in the summer, and so every time it turned 5 o'clock, and we had 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, something like that, and every time it turned 5 o'clock, we served. So we were doing breakfast for the soldiers, and then we did dinner for the soldiers, and we were really driving our
All the way out.
all the way to Albemarle and back like twice a day.
But it was a
we
great
would serve.
contract.
which is a little bit of a haul.
It's a little bit of a haul.
Yeah.
It's not too bad, but it's a little bit for and so it was a lot on us though because
it was just
Heather did all the
us.
food, and then we had some employees that would go with me to help me serve. And we really found anybody that would go. Because it's hard to get people to go with you at 5 a.m. to serve breakfast and then back to do lunch. So that kind of kept us alive a little bit. Having that.
Think about a government. How did
We
that
were
even
trying anything and everything our first year because it took a while to even get that government contracts because you have to sign up, you have to get your codes in place. There's a lot to it.
A lot of paperwork.
back end?
Yeah.
And then when we finally got that through the first year, the second year we actually started bidding on contracts.
Did you guys like that? Did you like the bid
Honestly,
contract?
there's not a lot of money in it. So do I like it? No. Because you're here to try to make some profit, and there
100%.
wasn't a lot of profit in it at all.
But the people we served were so appreciative. They're
great.
super. I mean, I love those people. They were great.
Nice.
Because we did another job years later up in Mooresville, the same situation, and those people were great, and they called us back every time.
Wow.
So because we have formed this relationship, it was.
They
nice.
haven't done a lot of it. Since. So, that was probably probably our first 5 years we could get in and get those contracts. So.
And listen, there is a time period where there's a learning curve, and you're learning, and you're figuring out. Okay, well, you know what? That wasn't worth it. I know for us, our first 5-8 years. Anybody that would buy anything, I would sell it to them. Now we're 12 years in, and I'm like, you know what? Not every customer's a good customer.
Right.
Right? Like, if we can't, figure some things out, and you're always complaining about something, or you want a unique item and then you never buy that item, or if you don't pay on time. There's always these little nuances. So not every customer's a good customer. And now you guys looking back like, okay, that was a good experience. The people were awesome, but maybe there just wasn't enough,
And it took a while to get paid. Like now that you say that, I mean, there was some things like that was
that dragged on.
Yeah.
And you know, as small businesses, cash flow is the most important.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
absolutely.
That is like, you know, and that's when we figured out the same thing the hard way, where, you know, we were, you know, needing cash to pay the bills or payroll for the week, and so okay, so year 2 is a little easier. You're getting your name out there. You know, people are starting to find out about you guys. Now, you guys service the Charlotte-esque area? Like Charlotte,
the metro,
Mooresville,
yes.
the metro? Okay.
Exactly. We'll even go up to Rowan, too.
We go to Salisbury a lot,
Okay.
and we also go to
Statesville.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
kind
Fort
of
Mill.
north end.
The north end.
Yeah,
Okay.
not so much Lancaster, but we're kind of on the north side.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so we're a couple of years in. You know, you're starting to... Now, when did you guys move in? Now, you guys were in a different building than we are here.
Right. We were in leased space.
Okay.
And our contract was for 3 years, and we were trying to get out within the 3 years. But there was no buildings, and they're very expensive for a small business. And trying to come up with the money and to make sure, like, you know, debt ratio is where it needs to be. And so we really worked with the banker starting that 3rd year. Started in with the banker and said, okay, if you guys accomplish these items, then I can get you a loan. And that's kind of what we started on our 3rd year.
So 3 years in, the lease is about to be up.
Mm-hmm.
You're realizing that the current venue is not going to be the end-all, be-all. And
Right.
you got to find... Was it big? Was it this size? Was it small?
It's really small.
It's really
Was
small.
it?
But it was very expensive.
And because it was expensive. I mean, we were paying like $4,300 a month for rent, and with that kind of money, Heather's like, Jodi, we got to find a kitchen, you know, that maybe we could purchase, and then
So you guys were cooking elsewhere?
no, well, we were cooking in the rental, in the lease,
In the lease
Gotcha.
space.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the lease space was so expensive. That we
And
could-
for that money, we were thinking for that money, we could have a building and actually have something of value. Because right now we have no value to our company at all.
catering is
Yeah.
hard to have value. Like we want to be able to, I mean, not that we're always looking at an exit strategy, but you want your business to have value
Sure.
when you get rid of it.
Sure.
So, and you know, we're not young anymore, and we knew we needed something to possibly retire on later. So
Sure.
we really tried to look at the real estate piece.
Smart. I mean, listen,
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different angles to business that you have to look at.
Yeah.
Right? And then value in potentially selling a business or having a property that you can then lease to somebody. I mean, like, these are things that if you've never ever stepped into the business world and, you know, you just work for somebody and you just come in and clock in, you never think about.
All the
Never.
parts. Yeah.
Right? Versus now, I mean, you know, even for us, we never even thought about, I mean, we rented my dad's little warehouse for our first 5 years, and then we said, okay, well, this 5,000 square foot warehouse, like, we're maxed. We can't even pull the orders and then just set them out to load up the trucks anymore. We need another space, and so, you know, luckily, which I know a little bit about this because we talked about it, you know, off air, but you guys found a spot, you know, at this location, but same with us, we found a spot about a mile and a half from our first location. It was 25,000 square feet. It was 5 times the size of our old one.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It actually had a bathroom and offices. We had no bathroom and no office in the first. I mean, it was just a shell. It was just a shell. And so we had thought. I mean, you know, it's funny looking back. You know, because I think we've been in the building. I think 5 years, maybe 6. But it was so big. We were even thinking about leasing out parts of the building because we were like, what are we going to do with 25?
All the space.
Yeah. And it's so, thank goodness we did not. It's so interesting. 6 months, 9 months. It's so interesting how it's like, you know, listen, I'm not a science guy, but I understand osmosis and, you know, life likes equilibrium or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, we started filling it up. It's so interesting. It's like, hold on, where's this extra space at? Right? Like,
Yeah.
now it's just, you know.
Now I need to stretch these walls again.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
But yeah, so tell us how you found this current location. How did that pan out?
It took a couple years, and we saw a couple buildings, and we had a great real estate person that was just, there's a couple buildings, she's like, you know, just don't take this building. You're going to get into it, and it's going to cost you a fortune. Because there was one
This
building
one?
really, no, not this one.
Oh.
There was
We
one
were
building we
looking.
really, really liked, and she goes, don't do it. Don't do
Okay.
it. She talked us out of it.
Okay.
So we're like, okay, so we backed out of that one. And eventually we found this. It took us a year and a half on trying to
Not
look.
too, yeah.
Because we want to kind of stay in the same area a little bit, because that's where we live and
100%.
we need to be close to work. So it took us a year and a half to find it, but then we finally did find it. And we kind of heard through the grapevine it was going to go on the market because being in the restaurant industry, you find things out. And so we did find out it was going on the market. And we asked her if we could put a bid on it. And we didn't get the building. We didn't get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
someone beat us out.
So it's not even on the market yet.
No, it's not on the market.
You hear rumblings that, but I mean, at first glance, did you like it? Like,
we loved it.
The patio, we were sold. As soon as we pulled in and saw the patio, we're like, oh.
Which we'll show you guys some pictures. I'll pop up some pictures here. But so there's
plus Heather could have her kitchen. Honestly, Heather's been in food service for 25 years, probably at that point, and we were like, it'd just be great if you could actually have your own kitchen.
Have your own space.
And so that'd be awesome. And so and it had a really good kitchen. I mean, the hood system everything was here, so it was exciting. Yeah.
It was a restaurant?
It was like a bar. So we did have to extend out some walls to make the full kitchen. Okay. But we did extend out some walls and put a kitchen in. So.
Okay. So,
but it did have, the hood system's a huge part of the kitchen.
100%.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, restaurant equipment can get so expensive, and you're trying to find a deal and trying to find a gently used fryer, or you know what I mean, or flat top. And so, okay, so you find it, you love it,
we're so excited,
you're pumped, and you don't get it.
We don't get it. We're just
how are we here now? Like, how does this pan out?
Sorry. But so what ended up happening was we found another place. Okay. We put a bid on that. We were almost to the full month, like a 30-day type situation, and we were going to sign. And we got a call from a real estate agent, and she said, "You won't believe this, but everything fell through on this building we're in now."
This property.
And she said, "What do you want to do?" And
how close are you to signing? How close are
a day,
like days,
24 hours, yeah. But we needed more money. We also needed a little more money
because apparently we were the second bid, and we didn't know this the whole time. And they came back and said, if you bring your bid up to this amount of money, which we're like, oh my God, then you can have the building.
So we really had to call our parents, and I think Dad had passed by this point, but we called Mom, and we had to really talk to her, and. She came through for us to get this building.
Shout out to you, Mom.
Yes.
Shout out.
So she helped us, and we were able to acquire this property.
Can you imagine, like, this story blows my mind.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I didn't even know it was that tight.
It was tight.
24 hour. Can you imagine not even being here?
And if we had signed on the other building, Heather would not have had what she has now, as far as the kitchen is concerned, at all.
So, like, the other space was not as good as this one.
Not even close.
Yeah. And it's not far from this building, so we pass it quite often. I'm like, oh wow.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah, that we're so lucky. I know it's just St. Patrick's Day, but luck has a lot to do with a lot of things.
It's interesting you say that. The property that we were at, our first warehouse, a little 5,000 square foot, my dad owns another warehouse right in front of it, closer to the road. We were kind of sitting off the road a little bit. And this one's 10,000 square feet. And we were talking about potentially taking that over so we have both warehouses, so we didn't have to move. The only problem is they weren't connecting, and we were thinking about maybe just building on, connecting the two, and it ended up not working out, but thankfully it didn't. Thankfully, because I'm like, we would have filled up that 10,000 square foot
in a blink.
I mean, we filled up the 25,000 square foot in a year or whatever it was. I'm like, imagine if we would have just hopped on, and so it just, things happen the way they're supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And, there's, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I actually believe in luck, but there is some things that have to align, right? I guess my thought is I believe that the harder we work, the more things line up, for the way they're supposed to happen. Wow, what an interesting scenario. And you see it passing it every day, I think is amazing. It's an amazing thing. And so tell me about the day that you guys made the offer and it got accepted. Like,
oh, it was crazy. It was just
ecstatic. Words can't even express.
Every time something great happens to us, it's kind of a joke we have. Everything great happens to us, we always end up back in the dish room or doing something like that's mundane, that's like, okay, this is reality.
Get you back into check. Right. This is great, but the reality is, you still have to clean these floors and you still have to do this. Yeah. because even on moving day, we were talking about this prior to coming to talk to you. Like the moving van, the guy we had that was going to help us move was kind of a friend of ours. So we really wanted to, you want to share business, give to who you know. His truck broke down. Oh. His help didn't come. So we were like, okay, we have 4 vans. We deliver food. Mm-hmm. So we just kept filling our vans, going back and forth. We got everything moved in. Heather called in a favor to her equipment guy. So everything got here. So everything's still like, even though we had the building, like things kind of still come to check.
Still,
like,
yeah.
It's not a fairy tale,
glamorous. But we had the building, so
success isn't a fairy tale.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
There is, which is why I think it's so important to cherish the good times.
Yeah.
Because you'll have some down times.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like
absolutely.
We'll use this scenario. What's happening right now? I mean, I'm sure having a virus and shutting down restaurants and weddings. I mean, like this isn't ideal.
No.
For a catering company or for any business for this matter. But you know what? We have to take the punches. You know what I mean? It's like, what is it? Mike Tyson says, we always have a plan. You have a plan until you get punched in the face. Like, yeah,
exactly.
We have a plan on what this road of owning a company and, having the money and the lifestyle and whatever you want. But there is, the road of success is, off an exit, and then somehow you veer back onto the exit.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're ecstatic. You get the building you want. You have your kitchen. There's a patio. So there was a restaurant here, a bar.
Right. Right.
Okay. Now, did it need remodeling? Did it need? Is this how it looked?
No. Like we said, money was an issue, so we really honestly just got the kitchen up and going. And because that way we keep business going.
There you go.
And so that's what we did. We got the kitchen going, got that moving, and then we started looking at the building. Like, nice. Where can we move? Because it takes a lot, because you have to have drawings, you have to go to the city, and it's a lot to get through the process.
Sure.
And then so we opened one side of the building first, which is kind of the wedding side, the patio side.
Okay.
So. And Heather's Kitchen. Catering kept us alive, so we could get a few things done.
100%.
Yeah.
Sales will always get you through. That is, as long as you can keep something churning,
something going,
and cash coming in, that's perfect. Okay, well, cool. So
the venue, when did it? Maybe 3 years ago is when we kind of really opened the ballroom. That it was nicer. We put a fireplace on the patio. We added, we just kept adding as we had money to add to the building. Mm-hmm. There's still a laundry list of things we'd like to do to the building. But it's just going to come with time.
Sure.
But everything is open now, and we're able to rent out our spaces.
And you guys have 2 venues here.
Right.
2 little, and this is called Magnolia Woods.
Right.
Yes.
So Magnolia Woods in Huntersville. Check them out. We'll put all the links, for you guys. We'll put a ton of pictures. It is a phenomenal space. I don't know if you guys know this. I came to a wedding here a couple of years ago.
Oh.
I don't know if I knew that. Yeah.
I think even before you guys, before we even worked together, I actually came to a wedding. Some of my friends were getting married, and it was an outside wedding. It was out in the patio. It was gorgeous. It was a little smaller of a wedding. Smaller. I say smaller compared to Greek weddings, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
I remember coming here and it was fantastic.
Great.
Thank you. But yeah, like I said, beautiful space. So you've got a venue for business, churches.
And that's on the other side. So we have the nice wedding side, and then the other side's more kind of casual.
So it's more of a casual setting. So if anybody needs a space for business presentations, teachings, trainings, churches sometimes, anything
Sweet 16 parties.
Sweet 16,
yeah, things like that.
You have a spot for that.
Yeah.
But then you also have an indoor, outdoor, nicer ballroom style that is, I'm sure, for nicer events, weddings.
Exactly. Or just large groups. If people have really large groups, yeah.
How many people can you fit in both
225.
225 in
the ballroom.
The large
the
space.
Ballroom, okay.
And then about 60 in the commons.
60 to 80, depending on the party.
Gotcha.
And the other space.
Perfect. Okay. What do you think was the most the things that you guys learned the most between moving in here? And you've been here for how long? 5, 6 years?
Since 14. We moved in here in 14.
Years.
Yeah.
So I think we actually talk about this. I think we actually moved into our building at the same time. I think March of
And we were
14.
May. Yeah. Isn't that
And so-
funny?
So the last 6 years, I'm sure you guys have kind of gotten into a groove, and you really know how the business, because you've been in business now for
10 years, over 10 years now.
over 10 years. So, because I know for us, the last few years have really, I think it took us 9 years to hit a certain amount of business. And then in the last 3, we doubled what we did the first
That's
9.
nice.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Nice.
Yeah.
So I really feel like the last 3 years for us, we really understand what it takes to really have a logistics distribution company. And I'm assuming the last few years for you guys as well, you've really kind of figured it out.
Well, Savory Moments we've got figured out, and because we've done it for so long. But Magnolia Woods was a new entity. It was a new business.
Doing events was different.
It was completely different than we're used to doing.
Okay.
So when you're getting in your groove, we're reinventing a new groove to our company, and
Okay.
so it's brand new.
So
for
it's
us.
been 3 years, but 3 now we feel kind of comfortable.
We do.
Yeah.
So Savory Moments is your actual catering company.
Yeah.
Magnolia Woods is your event space.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, so
Right.
two
Correct.
different companies.
Right.
Correct.
On premise.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I really believe in that 3-year mark, because we saw it at Savory Moment side. Like we hit that 3-year mark and we're like, okay, we're on a stride. Like we're rolling now. And I feel that way with Magnolia Woods too, that it was kind of like, okay, where's our systems? What do we need to do to make these things amazing and not, have everything planned out accordingly. And that 3-year mark, I feel like that we were in a groove and we started getting calls and people started noticing us.
And we have a great team of people. And everywhere. On the finally, like honestly, this year finally hit for us. Really have a good team of people on the catering side, on the event side, in Heather's kitchen, sanitation. I mean, you name it. We finally have excellent people
100%.
working. Yeah.
That is so important. It's like having an engine where everything is just, all the oil and the levels are perfect, and it's okay, like this V8
Clicking.
engine now is working perfectly.
Yes.
So what are some things that you learned about in the events business? I'm actually curious now. I know nothing about
We had to
events,
learn
event
people.
spaces. Okay.
We had to learn people and know, like, when they say something, are they speaking truth?
Okay.
And we had to learn that. I feel like a police officer sometimes. Like,
Yeah, like how many people are coming, what to expect, and just kind of to also like just to get things in line. Like we need to have this many meetings prior to the event. Like we really need them to come in, and we really need to do tastings as a group of people and have 40 people in here. So all the food is exactly what we do, so they get a more of an idea of our style.
right, and we
Yeah.
could set it up like a wedding, like, because we have that many people, we set it up like, okay, this is what your food display is going to look like. This is what your tables
And
will
do
look
you
like.
like this? And what would you like? Like we really want to try to cater more toward that individual client. It's their day. We want it to be their day and special for them.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I guess never putting on events like that. I really don't know what it takes. And you're being specific. Number of meetings prior to the. That is.
It's important.
That is deep. That is thorough.
Yeah.
Having checkpoints, I'm sure. Like, okay, by
Right.
here we should have these things figured out, because there's not only do you have to just rent the space, but you have to order food, you have to prep. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen behind the scenes,
Right.
For the day to be the day.
Exactly.
Because it's like, what color do they want? Everything has to be down to like the color runners, the color napkins. Everything has to be planned out and perfect. When that bride walks in their door for their wedding day, they're like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. We want that aha moment for them.
You guys do everything. You guys do everything.
We do it all.
Full
Yes.
service, like chairs, tables,
Yeah, we
table
do that.
covers, runners. I know, which I know that has to take major investment. I would have to think.
And a lot of laundry.
Laundry for sure.
lot of laundry.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I just know from our perspective, having several hundred customers now, it's like everybody wants a certain thing.
You're right.
And it's like, okay, well, I can't get every single thing that every single person wants, because then I would.
We're one of those customers. I know. We're like that. I know.
You guys are great customers. I will do whatever necessary to keep you as a customer. And so, but yeah, you guys.
But we have
you wanted
specific
that,
things.
That yellow
Oh,
wax
wax
yes.
paper.
I brought it in. So,
Yeah.
but no, it's it's an interesting thing that a business continues to need some investments. You need to have the which is why people choose you. because you have, every single part of the. I mean,
try to be a full service. Yes.
Yeah, I would never even think about having, different style of run. I mean, displays or I can't imagine everything that. I mean,
some people like rustic, and some people like it very
simple.
Or more glamorous is what I'm trying to say. More crystals and gold or whatever. Yeah.
Nice, interesting. Okay. What else? Anything else that people? I don't know. Let's say somebody would love to get into, owning their own business or food service or caterings. What is some advice that you would give them, or anything that you would suggest to them, or maybe even coming from a corporate arena to a small business? What are some things that like for example, paid vacations, like that. Listen. And hopefully, listen, we wish everybody the best. We want them to have enough money to be able to take a couple weeks off and still get their paycheck. But that may not happen, or that may happen 10 years down the road, or 15, or, I don't know. Any thoughts on?
I think the best thing that we had is that I ran corporate companies previously. So I learned the numbers. Of course, they teach at school, but actually doing the numbers as a business side, that has saved us a lot.
Keeping your costs in line.
Keeping the cost in line is huge. So you definitely need to know how to keep those costs in lines. And also know, in any business 101 class you'll take says you will not be paid for the first 3 years. That is true. You will not be paid inconsistently for the first 3 years.
Because the business needs it.
Yes, it constantly needs cash flow, and you can't deposit that check until you get the cash flow right. So I think just knowing your business and knowing the numbers and getting an accountant. You can't afford an accountant the first 3 years, but you need that accountant to help you.
You have to
figure out
the money.
The numbers.
You have to find the money to get a CPA. A good CPA is important.
That's something that we we used. Listen, being a 22 and an 18-year-old, my cousin, we accountant numbers, we didn't know anything. It was, and thankfully we used my dad's CPA and bookkeeper for the first couple of years, and he cut us a big break because my dad did so much business with them, just to teach us a lot of this stuff. We didn't. We were, but you know what? It helped because then we focused on sales and bringing in new clients, and so which is what ended up growing the business and ended up able to pay us. Because if you have an accountant, but then you never grow the business and don't go to the markets and don't get these deals, these contracts. Nothing matters.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so know your numbers. Gosh, I think that, I went to college. I got my 4-year degree in marketing and IT, but, there's, this is just my experience. I'm not downing college for anybody that wants to go, but, there's one class that I wish I would have paid attention more. It was accounting.
I agree.
World music was cool, but genetics, biology lab, this is, I guess I'm a more well-rounded person, but, the reality is I have used none of that. I think, to be honest with you, I think some of the best things that I've been able to use is just working in my dad's restaurant. The people skills that you'll develop working in a restaurant and working in those stressful environments, I can't say enough about that. I think everybody should work in a restaurant at some point.
I agree. Everyone should work in a restaurant, either front or back of the house, one or the other.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. You should just so you understand, that part, retail, working with the public.
But it's a different pace. And that's what you got to, because I get a lot of applicants who are like, oh, I cook at home and I love to cook. And I'm like, oh no. I was like, it's a different pace. Yes, I'm so glad that you love to cook. But when you walk in the kitchen, you got to run, you got to go, and you got to know what you're doing, and you got to produce. Yeah, and you got to get it out.
And to be good at it, the reality is you got to be you got to be like that type of person. Mm-hmm. Like you got to be able to handle stress and
quickly
move on. Yeah, move on pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But yeah, knowing the numbers. So knowing the numbers.
Knowing the numbers, yes.
Super important. Yes. No matter what business, know your cost, know your margin, know your profit.
Know your fixed costs and your variables, know all of it. Because right now with the coronavirus, we're going through our variables right now.
Sure. Yeah. Listen, it wasn't expected.
Right.
It wasn't expected. This is, at least in 2008-9.
It was coming.
It was our fault.
We knew.
We could see it coming.
It was our fault. Okay.
Yeah.
And when I say our fault, the bank's fault. I mean, whoever's fault it was.
Yeah.
But like that was something, so it says something to anybody who's watching or listening to the podcast. It's so easy to take it, to just get into a rhythm of good times that you forget there are some rough times.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, when it's like, what is it? Is it the squirrel that hides the nuts in the spring and the summer, so in the wintertime, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So all right, I'm just making sure about
Yeah, you gotta scroll all that away.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to be diligent, live below you. I mean, this is something that I practice, and I try to teach to my staff and said, listen, we don't know when, but there will be tough times like it is now. I mean, it's business for us even though, currently as of right now, what is it, the 22nd or 23rd? 22nd of March, restaurants are still open for takeout, but, and they're using to-go boxes, but business has dropped tremendously.
Tremendously.
In the last week. And so, but, I mean, this is unpredictable. Nobody saw this coming. It is what it is. Now it's just, okay, how can we have a good attitude about it and find solutions?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing we could do. That's one thing we could do. And so, Jodi, how about you? What's going to be something that you've learned, having your own business now for 10 years and, figuring stuff out and,
I think it's the people thing. I mean, plus we're sisters, and I think there's a lot to that too, is that, you have to learn to get along not only with your staff, but your business partner. 100%. And there's days that I have good days and days when I have really bad days. But luckily, usually Heather's having a good day when Jodi has a really bad day. And so you really have to play off each other, and you have to, try to get along and not kill each other.
And we're sisters, so it's very difficult sometimes.
Yeah, but at least you can, I can be real frank with Heather, and she can do the same with me. And I think, and we use that with our clients, with, mothers of the bride. You have to use those skills all the time. And I think that's the most important thing, is just all of us getting along with each other and trying to make it the best we can.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I 1,000% agree. I mean, that's, being in business with my cousin, it's the same thing. I mean, we balance each other out. We're very, very different people. But that's what you need. I mean, I'd love to ask this question. How important is your business partner? Like put some thought into that, because, I just know in some cases, my dad's had business partners and it hasn't worked out well, and, they start a restaurant together and it just does not pan out. And I'm just like, man, I don't know. I was so young.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, but now looking back, I'm like, you know what? I mean, we should be, if you're thinking about getting a business partner, you need to make sure there's communication.
Absolutely.
And you know each other, and
And somebody you can actually work with.
And that you guys have kind of the same vision, right? I mean, if one person's content with this, but the other one is not, I mean, I can see frustration building there real quick.
Oh yes.
And then you just got to compromise. You're like, okay, understand that this is what you want, and I don't agree with that at all. So how are we going to make this work?
Sure.
And you just got to be frank with each other. And a lot of times we'll get in the car and say, let's take a drive. And we leave because our employees don't need to hear us bicker. They hear us bicker enough, But when there's a major decision and we just can't agree upon something, we're like, okay, where are we going to compromise at? Where's our spot that we can live with?
That's good.
Neither one of us are getting our way. So how are we going to live with this? So
that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. I think, I'm a fan of just getting out of your, the reality is this is our comfort zone, our warehouse, my office, your venue, right? And so I think just even changing locations, just changing the environment, okay, cool. Like, let's just, go for a walk or go for a drive, or, hey, let's just go meet here for a coffee after work and let's chat about that. You made some good points. Compromise is a thing, right? And so, and there's certain things that, you have to kind of, find a medium or a balance. But cool. All right. Any last thoughts? Any last parting thoughts? I mean, obviously, I think it's been cool. I love this. I think, learning about your story is awesome. I think the start, it's so, the luck factor. 24 hours. That is insane to me.
Yeah.
Imagine
tight.
imagine where you would be if you did. I mean, like it really,
I don't know if we would be. That's the saddest part.
think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because our venue has been such a big part of our business now moving forward. And we wouldn't have had the opportunity at the other building because it was a smaller building. It would have just been a kitchen.
Is that wild?
I know. So it's kind of unbelievable that we wouldn't have that second business, that we would just have the catering piece. So I don't know if we'd still be catering. So, yes.
Yeah, I mean that's phenomenal. But yeah, any last thoughts? Anything you guys want to say to the Paper Trails Nation? Anything? Any suggestions?
Let's get back to
thoughts?
work.
Let's get back.
We're ready to go back to work. Yes.
I know. Hey, healthcare, help us out.
Please.
Everybody
stay at home.
Give us some medicine.
Have meetings.
Whatever you can. Let's. No, it's listen. The reality is, at the time of this recording, it is an interesting situation that I was joking with my dad literally yesterday. I went to the my dad's restaurant and helped him out for a couple hours. It was really slow, but I said this past Friday was probably the first Friday in the history of mankind, or at least the United States, where it was a Friday night and there was absolutely nobody dining into a restaurant or at a bar
That's weird. Yes.
I literally, that came to my mind, I'm like, nobody was dining into a restaurant on Friday night. And that is
unheard of.
That is the night. That Friday, Saturday night, the weekend is when, restaurants make their money. And then if they can get a couple of days during the week just to give them a good bump in sales, you'll have a good week. I mean, that's kind of, from what I've heard. And I was thinking and I guess I was thinking that because the kitchen was so quiet.
Weird.
I mean, my dad has, bigger restaurant, 300 seat capacity restaurants, big kitchens. And there's 4 of us and there's no wait staff. And there's one lady in the to-go room and it's just.
It's weird.
It was
too weird.
Yeah.
Weird. It's scary.
No in restaurants and that pace, and my dad is super anxious. He is that Greek, just.
Oh yeah.
Hey, hey, the light in the back is on. Turn it off. You know what I mean? We need to save money.
Yeah, absolutely.
That literally happened yesterday. But yeah, I mean, listen, the reality is, we'll figure things out. We'll find some solutions. Whether it's another week, 10 days, 2 weeks, we don't know. But this is where just being optimistic and being solution oriented is important. We can all point out blame or the faults or hey, if I was here I'd make this decision, or why didn't this happen? Okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, we can't do anything about it. They're trying. I mean, I guess I always assume the best, right? Hey, they're trying their best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With what limited knowledge we have, they're trying their best. Let's be safe. Let's practice these kind of things to make sure that it doesn't get worse. And then let's get things under control and resume back to our normal life, so then we can all make money for our family.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why
all
we're
about.
here. That's why we started a business.
Yeah.
That's why we have awesome employees and awesome staff, so we can mutually benefit from the relationship. So, anyway, this is awesome.
Thank you.
This
Thank
is
you.
awesome.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys coming on. And so, if we can, Austin put up some awesome pictures, put all the details. Magnolia Woods, if you guys are looking for any type of venue, small, large, business, wedding, gala, doesn't matter what it is, these sisters have it. They have everything, the details, the food, the catering side. I mean, literally, you guys should definitely consider this a possibility moving forward with any event that you have. And so, anyway, good to see you guys. We'll see you in the next podcast.